Welcome to today's edition of Paper Crafting with Tracy. Today I'm going to show you how to make this holiday festive card. Okay, the phrase there, if I can get the lighting right, says, "May your days be merry and bright." And inside we have so. Okay, now this card here is made using the Curvy Keepsake bundle. So the first one we're going to use is the Curvy Christmas stamp set. It's got some nice stamps there. And then we're also going to be using the matching dies, the Curvy dies. Now these dies here, you'll see, don't completely correspond to this stamp set, and that is because there is a second stamp set that corresponds to this set, and that's the Quite Curvy. Okay, and then all these leaves and the birds and stuff have corresponding dies. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make our top there with a piece of Whisper White. I'll just move that to the side there. And the first thing I'm going to do is stamp the trees. So I'm using Shaded Spruce because I think it's a really nice festive color. And then I've already mounted my trees. So what I did first, actually, is I got a piece of Shaded Spruce cardstock, like so. And I used this die. And I cut the paper 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. And then on the long side, I put my curve on there and cut it out. So this is what I got. And then I stuck that down. Now my paper got marked there for some reason, but that's okay because that's going to be covered with ribbon. And then I laid my stamp set down just so I could kind of get the angle right. That's the nice thing with these photopolymer stamps, is I could bend them a little bit. Okay, so this little bit here, just fix that a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, but so I want it above. And then I will take this off because some of the little points on the end will come underneath. Now this stamp is much bigger than my stamp pad, so I find it easier if I turn it over and take my stamp pad and ink along, like so. Now I did get some on the corner of my block, but that's okay. Now I know that this is going to be fairly close to the top, and that's okay. And we'll just stamp like so. And now I'll just make sure when I put my cardstock in, there we go, that it all sits above my my curve. Okay, so it's a little bit off on this end, so I will just reposition that end. Actually, it won't even do that because I've kind of reached the end of how far that block will go. So I'm just going to leave it. So the second thing I'm going to do before I stick this on here is I'm going to stamp my, well, I'll get that out of the way, sentiment, which all I did again was just lay it on the cardstock and then stuck it to here. So actually I put the wrong one on there, so I will show you. So we'll get this one out. And I just laid it kind of along the edge there as to how I wanted it, like so, and then stuck that on the block. Now, in order to do this, I get my Versamark and ink it all up. Make sure I got the end there. And I'll just kind of line it up there, make sure it's on there, like so. You can't see much of it because it is clear. I don't know if you can kind of see that in the light. But then I've got my embossing powder. And I'm using silver embossing powder. So I just get my little spoon, stick some of that on, and then give it a good flick. Get all the extra off. There we go. So now what's really important before I use the heat gun is cover up your embossing powder. Otherwise you'll have a just big clump of silver glue or goo. So I will get my heat gun. And you'll see, hopefully the camera will show this, it'll start to turn as it gets warm. There, it's starting to go now. See how it's starting to change color? And that's just as it's melting all the powder. And you can see where I've left a little bit of sparkle out around it. And I like that effect. It's like little bits of snow. And just come right along until it's all changed color. There we go. So that part's done. So now I'm going to attach this to here. Got some on my fingers, but that's okay. So I'll use my Stampin' Seal. So if it's not quite catching, just push it along a tiny bit. There we go. And then I'll come right along the edge there. Okay. And we'll anchor this down. So I want it lined up perfectly with the bottom of my paper. So I'm actually going to line it up with the corner and the edge and the bottom. Like so. And down. Okay. There we go. Now I will take, before I put that on there, I'm going to attach the ribbon. But before I do that, I'm just going to do the insert, just so I can get rid of the ink. Okay, so all I've done was take some of those trees again. Now, I didn't want the great big arc in it, like on the front. I just wanted along the edge. So I'll take my stamps, just kind of run them across, like so. And they'll take their own shape a little bit, but it took out the big curve out of it. Now I'll ink that back up again. There we go. Just remember, if you don't like how it looks, paper has two sides. So just flip the paper over. There, oops, see? So we flip the paper over. Didn't put enough pressure on that side. There we go. So we'll do it again. Okay, apply pressure all the way around it. And I don't mind that that little bit didn't show. Okay, one thing, just on the topic of doing these photopolymer stamps, it's a good idea underneath your mat to have some kind of foam. It helps the stamps to stamp better. Okay, so I'll put that aside. Now we're going to get our ribbon. So the ribbon I'm using is this white ribbon with the silver edging. So I will pull my ribbon out here, you can see, and I'm going to decide how much I want there, and I'll get my scissors here. So, not sure where my good ribbon scissors are at the moment, so I'll just cut that. because I'm going to need that again in just a moment. So now I will tape all the way around that side. Get our glue, our tape coming. Oops. There we go. Now, what I find the easiest is position it on the front once you've taped all the way around. And I'm going to cover up that spot, which I knew I was going to be, and then just wrap your ribbon around, like so. And now I'm going to adhere that directly onto my cardstock. There we go. Straighten everything back out here. And that's going to go directly onto my card. So it's all got a border around, like so. And before I put my ribbon on the front, stick this one on. Go. Make sure, yep, I'm on the right side. And as I always tell my children, it's okay if it's not perfect. That's what shows that it's handmade. Okay, so the last step is I'm going to put a bow in here. So before I cut it off, I usually make my bow. No, I'm not wasting a huge amount. So I just make my 2 rabbit ears and then pull together. And I can adjust it a little bit here and there. Okay, so it's roughly the size I want. I'll cut it off. Oops. That's why I normally have ribbon scissors. It's really important to have ribbon scissors, and that's all you use them for is ribbon. Because cutting paper and other things actually dulls your scissors, and you want a nice crisp. So you just play with your bow a little bit. There we go. Get it how you like it. I always put it in place first and then trim it. So to put it in place, I'm going to use glue dots like I've got here. So I don't know if you can see the dots on there. So I'll stick a glue dot on the back of my ribbon. Oops. Okay. Oops. My ribbon's coming undone a bit. There we go. Stick that in place. And then I will trim the rest of my ribbon. Like so. And give it a good crisp edge. And there you have it. Our May Your Days Be Merry and Bright holiday card. I hope you enjoyed this video with Paper Crafting with Tracy. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel to stay up to date on more videos, as well as like our Facebook page. Have a good day.